Welcome back to the Made for More Ministries podcast. I'm so glad you're here today because we're going to talk about something that we all face at some point, conflict. Whether it's with a friend, a coworker, a family member, or even a stranger in the grocery store who cuts in line or maybe cuts you off on the road, conflict is just a part of life. But how do we handle it? That's where things can go really right or really wrong. Today we're going to break down how to navigate conflict biblically, share some practical steps for resolution, and look at a personal experience of mine that completely changed the course of my life for the better. And of course, we'll sprinkle a little humor because let's be honest, people are complicated. Conflict comes in many forms. Some are small, some are annoying, like when your spouse loads the dishwasher wrong, puts the forks upside down or right side up, even though there's clearly a right way. Others are bigger and have lasting impacts on our relationships, careers, and our emotional well-being. So here's a few common conflicts that we face. Number one, work tensions. Maybe a coworker constantly undermines you, takes credit for your work, or just your personalities aren't jiving and just rubs you the wrong way. Maybe it's family disagreements. Whether it's a parent, sibling, in-law, family conflict can be some of the hardest to navigate because you love each other, but yet sometimes the conflict can be so difficult. Maybe it's a friendship struggle, a friend that maybe betrayed your trust and now you're not sure how to move forward, or you're just going in different seasons of life and you're not the same that you used to be, years back, and you guys are changing. Maybe your work life is changing, your seasons of life are changing, and it's hard to bridge that gap. And sometimes there's even church conflicts. Yes, even in the church, people don't always see eye to eye. We're human, we're imperfect, and we live on this ball of mud with a lot of imperfections and sin and temptations and just conflict. And sometimes no matter how much we try to resolve things, the conflict just keeps happening. So just to share, I once had a job where I constantly found myself in conflict with this coworker. And no matter how much I tried to be patient, understanding, professional, try to connect with her, it just felt like nothing would change. Every day was a battle, and it just was exhausting trying to do this all day, every day. And there was this one Sunday morning, I had heard a message that really stuck with me, and it was about surrendering our struggles to God and praying for clarity. And so that week, per the pastor's guidance, I prayed, Lord, would you either change me, change them, or change the situation? And I didn't know what would happen, but I knew I couldn't keep going on in circles like this. And while I do believe that situation did change and shape me for the better, ultimately, I felt God leading me towards the change of the situation, meaning I got a new job. And obviously the whole story and all the details with it could take me an hour to tell you everything. But at first it was really scary. But the new job came with better pay, a better work environment, and it put me on the career path that I've now been in for over 10 years, a career that has been an incredible blessing to my family. And looking back, I realized that sometimes God answers our prayers by shifting us into something better, but we have to be open to His leading in order for that to happen. The Bible gives us incredible wisdom on handling conflict, and here's a few passages that can guide us. Matthew 18:15. If your brother or sister sins, go and point out their fault just between the two of you. If they listen to you, you have won them over. Ignoring a conflict doesn't make it go away. Jesus instructs us to go directly to the person, not gossip about them, not blast them on social media, but talk to them. Now, this particular person, I'm sure if I was in a different season of life, maybe a little bit more mature, because I was pretty young at the time, maybe I would have been able to confront this coworker and have an honest conversation with her, and it could have turned out into nothing. I do believe that our personalities just didn't really jive. I probably could have made the situation work in a better manner by addressing her directly. But the most important part is that you do not gossip to other people about the situation. If you have a problem, you speak with them directly. And I promise you, more often than not, probably 9 times out of 10, you will reveal that it was mostly in your head, or maybe there was something mostly in their head that was causing an action to cause a reaction between the two of you. And a honest conversation can lead to some really, really good relationships. And I have seen this time over time again in my own life. But before you have the conversation, pray for wisdom and approach it with humility rather than defensiveness. Another thing, control your response, not the other person's. In Proverbs 15:1, it says, "A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger." We cannot always control how somebody treats us, but we can control our response. If we respond in anger, the conflict is going to escalate. If we respond with wisdom and patience, we open the door for peace. So before responding to conflict, take a deep breath, or 5. Pray and ask yourself, is my response helping or hurting the situation? Another thing, don't let bitterness take root. In Ephesians 4:31-32, it says, "Get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger, brawling and slander, along with every form of malice. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as Christ God forgave you." Holding on to resentment is only going to poison our own hearts. When we choose to forgive, we free ourselves from the weight of that bitterness. So if you struggle with forgiveness, just ask God to help you see the other person the way that He sees them. It doesn't excuse their actions or put aside the hurt or pain that you may have experienced, but it does shift your heart posture, and it can be very beautiful. Number 4, know when it's time to just walk away. It says, "Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character," in 1 Corinthians 15:33. Not every relationship is meant to be salvaged. Some conflicts reveal that it's time to set boundaries or even just walk away. If a situation is toxic, it is okay to remove yourself from it. And if a conflict is draining you emotionally or spiritually or physically, just pray and seek wise counsel about whether it's time for you to move on. Humans are complicated, and can we just acknowledge the fact that how wildly complicated we are in every manner? Like if you think about, take a coliseum full of people. If you look around, depending on what the event is, if you look around, you see so many different dynamics of people, big, tall, short, wide, the personalities. If you were to put, any 20 of those people in a room, and let's just say an escape room, for example, it's amazing how the differences in each of us can pull out, and we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses. But at the end of the day, we want people to be honest, but when they tell us the truth, we get offended. We want peace, but we also want to be right. We pray for patience, and then God puts the most annoying people in our path to teach us patience. How funny is that? There was a situation yesterday where I was just sitting in my car after this phone call, and it was a very positive, encouraging phone call. But I thought to myself, God, you really are a funny God. And I'm sitting here in my garage, getting out of my car, just speaking out loud to Him. Like, God, it just blows my mind how funny you really are and how you make things work together. And, it's not always feels good, but in this moment, this was a good thing. And I had something happen 3-4 days ago that just made me frustrated, and gosh dang it, why does this have to happen? And then this phone call that I had just gotten off with yesterday was essentially God telling me, Sonny, if you didn't worry about that situation 3 days ago, you would know that something better was coming. And this was the phone call to confirm that something better was going to replace what had happened 3-4 days ago. And it's just funny how God works. But here's the good news. God knows that we're complicated, and He still loves us. Even when we mess up, even when we say the wrong thing, even when we handle conflict completely wrong, His grace is bigger than our failures. So here's some final thoughts I want to share with you. Trust God in the process. Conflict is not easy, but it is an opportunity for growth if you let it. Sometimes God calls us to work through it. Sometimes he calls us to change our hearts in that situation or with that person. And sometimes he leads us to a new path altogether. And every one of those, or all of them, are okay. No matter what, when we seek him first, we trust that he will guide us to the right resolution. So I thank you for joining me today. If you're currently facing a conflict, I encourage you to pray the simple but powerful prayer. Lord, change me, change them, or change the situation. And trust that whatever happens next is leading you towards something better. Have faith, don't fear. If something starts happening or you think something's getting worse, maybe it tricks you because it's actually going to get better. And God has a plan. And he is trying to take you on a journey. And if you allow him to take you on it, it'll be the most beautiful journey you could ever look back on. So until next time, keep walking in faith, keep seeking God's wisdom, and remember, you are made for more.